but I am also the president of the Employee State University Employee Association. You have received numerous emails or buzz-in announcements, and maybe you've wondered what the ESU Employee Association is. It started many years ago to offer group life insurance at reasonable rates that individuals could take upon a termination from ESU, whether it be retirement or taking another position, whichever the case may be. Initially, it was the association's responsibility to collect the premiums and then make the payment for the policy. But since then, we have worked out with payroll to where it's an automatic deduction from your paycheck. And you might be wondering how you become a member of the Employee Association. If you select the UNM life insurance policy, you automatically are a member. So congratulations, you're a member whether you know it or not if you have the policy. And enrollment is during our October, which is the health benefits period. And I just want to quickly thank everyone who helped sponsor the event. Steve Owens, CFP, Mid-America Wealth Management, LLC, Protective Life, and Producers XL. And last but not least, Melanie Willingham, who has been my right-hand woman through all this and has helped me get things set up. It's been a pleasure working with everybody to get this organized. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Steve Owens and Richard Miller. And Andrea, are you coming up too? Andrea, all right.
Thanks, Tess.
Sure.
I really do want to take a minute and thank Tess and Melanie for all their work through the years, and it's not a very high-paying job, as you might guess, and so they've done a lot of work and done a great job, and thanks for helping put on this event. To my right is Richard Miller and his daughter Andrea Edwards, who I would mention that I've merged my practice with here in just the last few months, and so I'll be hanging my hat in their place for the next few years here out at West Highway 50. And so I spent 30 years down in the Crest building and have been an advisor on the life insurance program up here to the university for the last 35 or so years, and have very much, I sincerely say, very much enjoyed working with the university. It's been a great organization, and then I'm not going away anytime soon, so as long as they can put up with me, and so anyway, but I do want to say that in our practice, Richard and I and Andrea in our office, we are independent financial planners. So life insurance is a very, very small part of what we do. Primarily working in the areas of retirement planning, financial planning, and investments is what we do on a daily basis and have done for a long time. And so anyway, that's what we do. If after this program here in the next few weeks or months, if any of you would like to have an opportunity to sit down and discuss your goals and financial objectives and where you want to be in retirement, and look at allocating your assets and developing that income stream and doing all of those kinds of things, that is what we do. And of course, that's strictly up to you folks whether you choose to do that or not. There won't be anybody bugging you about that, so that'll be up to you. So I think probably at this time I'm going to turn it over to Richard, and we're going to introduce our speaker, and we'll get this show on the road here, and we think we've got a great speaker today. So anyway, when you're done, any questions you've got, I know that Jody is saying that this is going to be interactive, so stop asking any questions you want to. There's coffee and tea and cookies in the back, so this is going to be very informative, so enjoy yourself. I'll turn it over to Richard.
Thank you, Steve. Well, we want to welcome everybody, and we do want to thank Tess and Melanie for their efforts, because it's taken a lot of effort on their part to coordinate all this, and for the tickets and everything that's been done. We sure appreciate that. Our guest speaker today is Jody Harris from Birmingham, Alabama. He's going to have probably a little different accent than what we're used to. But I rode all the way from Kansas City with him last night. He's a pretty good guy. Jody spent 35 years with Social Security in the Birmingham office, and during that time he was in several different roles. Has a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. We were fortunate enough to, our producers XL, Dexter Umekubo, a good friend of mine, a mentor. Dex, thank you. And Kurt Nolde with Protective Life. Thanks to their efforts and financial commitment, we were able to get Jody in here today. Typically, he told me last night he's booked up I mean, what do you say, you're gonna do 150 of these this year?
Probably.
Probably, yeah. He's on the go all the time. And we're thankful for Protective and Dex for you guys, for your sponsorship. And so at this time, we're gonna turn this over to Jody. He would like questions. So if you have a question, raise your hand. You don't need to wait until the end to get your questions answered. And he's gonna share a lot of information with you. And Jody, thank you for being
All right,
here.
thank you.
Okay. Let's give him a welcome.
We're going to be on TV, so when y'all ask questions, please speak up. 2 reasons: so they can hear you, and the second one, so I can hear you. Because my wife tells me I am deaf. She just needs to make sure she's got my attention before she starts talking. You know, throw something. Okay, what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about Social Security. But more importantly, what I want to do today is answer your questions. So as we're going along, if you have a question, please ask it. When you ask a question, one of 3 things will happen. The first one, there's a chance I could answer it. There's always a chance. The second one, I could tell you, hang on a second, we're about to be there. Third one, I don't know, because I won't guess. And I used to say, it's been a long time since I answered one I don't know, but last fall I got one. So I'm going to ask you the question and see if you know the answer. How does the Social Security system in France work? Now, I told the guy, I said 2 things. Number 1, I don't know. And number 2, I don't care. I hadn't figured out why he asked the question. But if you've got a question, please ask it. Because somebody else in here has the same question and they're just shy and you're not. So, let's start off. Oh, here's the disclaimer. You want me to give you the Cliff Notes? I'm not responsible for anything. I'm an innocent bystander. Thank you. All right. Why is Social Security important? Well, almost everybody is covered by Social Security. Almost. I wasn't. I just worked there. Well, I'm one of those old federal employees that weren't covered by Social Security. But almost everybody is covered by Social Security. The benefits can be quite substantial. Some people don't realize what you can get from Social Security. The maximum benefit this year, just to go ahead and get this out of the way so y'all won't ask, $2,663 a month. So, you know, if you pay maximum Social Security taxes every year over your lifetime, then you're going to get, you know, $2,600 a month from Social Security. And I'm going to show you some tricks in a little while where you can make that 30% higher. So it can be quite a substantial income for people. So if you have my little favorite married couple, and he paid almost maximum, he's getting $2,600 a month. She's getting spouse benefits off of him. They're getting right at $48,000 a year. How much money would you need invested to give you $48,000 a year in income? $1 million. Under today's rules, getting 4 or 5% return. So Social Security is a significant asset that you have been paying all of your life, and when you get ready to start pulling the money out of Social Security, you need to treat Social Security just like your other assets that you've developed over your lifetime. Before you start your Social Security benefits, you need to get with the advisors at Mid-America and let them show you what your choices are, show you how you can put all of your resources together so you have the income stream in retirement that you hope for. Social Security is just one piece of that retirement plan that you need to have And that's what they do. They look at Social Security, they look at all of your other assets, your pensions, your investments, your savings, your lottery winnings, whatever, and fit it all together so you have plenty of assets in retirement. How many of you have heard this? We can't depend on it. It won't be there. Social Security is a pay-as-you-go program. It is not a savings or investment program. So the Social Security taxes that are collected this month will immediately be used in March to pay benefits to your parents and grandparents. So the only way there's no benefit in the future is if tax collections stop. Now that's not to say that there might be some changes, but the only way it stops is if the tax collections stop. And I would not want to be the politician in office the month checks did not go out. That would not be pretty. The biggest problem, the biggest handicap everybody's trying to overcome, you don't understand the program and how it works. So what I'm going to try to do today is give you a big picture overview of the program and answer your questions, and then you can get with your advisors and go into little fine details about your unique situation. Social Security is an income transfer program. It is not a savings or investment program. You need to understand that so you'll understand what can happen going forward. But Social Security takes current tax receipts and immediately moves it to the retired generation. And that is the way it has always worked from the beginning. The workers pay taxes and the retirees get the money. When Social Security started in 1937, it was a great system. The basics of the program are exactly the same today as it was in 1937 when the first check went out. But the rules are different. In 1937, you paid the retired worker only. You did not pay the spouse. You did not pay the ex-wife. You did not pay the disabled adult, the disabled child, the student, the adopted child, the stepchild, the grandchild, the ex-wife, the widow, the disabled widow, the divorced widow, the other ex-wife. You only paid the retired worker in 1937 at 65. There was not an early retirement option in 1937. So you're paying the retired worker only at 65. Average life expectancy was 63. Think about it. It was a great deal. Everybody pays in. Most of them died before they ever saw a check. And the few that got a check got it for 2 or 3 years. Well, you need to be planning Social Security retirement today, not for 2 or 3 years, but for 2 or 3 decades. If you live a normal life expectancy, you may live in retirement as long as you worked. I will. I worked 35 years with Social Security. I certainly plan on living 35 years in retirement. So retirement is just another piece of your life. My life is in 3 segments. The first 25 years I got my education. The next 35 years I worked. The next 35 years I retired. See, I'm retired now. This is not work. This is hobby. If this turns into work, I'm quitting. Because I tried that work. There's no future in it. So, today, 2 things have happened. The first was my fault. My generation did not have enough babies. We didn't put enough children back in the front end. Think about it. When we were growing up, and most of us in here are like near my age. I'm actually older than I look correct. So, you look down my street when I'm growing up. There's 3 kids. There's 2. There's 4. There's 2 more. There's 1. And everybody's trying to figure out what happened there. That poor child, they're all by themselves. They have no one to pick on. See, I was the oldest of 3. I have certain birthrights. You look down my street today, there are 1, 2, none, 1. Across the street, there's 4. And we're all trying to figure out what happened there. And he assures me there were only supposed to be 3, but on the last one they went double or nothing. So he has 4 teenagers. And he admits this was a terrible mistake. They're all girls. Yes. So we didn't put enough kids back in. But the most important thing was my parents' responsibility. They did not cooperate by dying. They lived too long. I was doing one of these in Boston. Any of y'all from Boston? Before I ended the Sorghum Mall? Had this grumpy old guy at the back of the room. He raises his hand. What can the people in this room do to help Social Security? What do you think I told him? I said, if all of you and a few million of your friends will die really quick, it will help the problem because it's just a numbers game. The baby boomers are coming through and we're living longer. You know, when my grandparents started on Social Security, their life expectancy was, you know, a year or 2 on Social Security. Now you're looking at decades on Social Security, so you're paying more people longer. Today, the baby boomers are moving into the system. There will be 10,000 people a day, every day, for the next 17 years become eligible for benefits. And then that number will start sliding down because all of us baby boomers will be in the system and starting to die on. So it's just going to be a numbers game for the next 2 decades. Average life expectancy today is 83, not 63 like it was in the beginning. But 83 is not a really good number for most of you. Here's a better number. If you're a married couple and you're both 65 years old right now, there's a 1 in 4 chance that one of you will live past 90. So one of you's got a 50-50 chance of living past 90. And you need to make financial decisions long-term, not short-term. And that's what the advisors will go over you, and I'm going to cover with your Social Security. You're going to make some decisions about your Social Security benefits that will affect you financially the rest of your life. In most situations, they cannot be undone. So please get some advice before you start the process, and don't come back later and say, well, I wish I'd done this. Today, there are 3 people paying taxes for every person that receives a check. By 2030, there will be 2 people paying taxes for every person that receives a check. So it's just a numbers game. So when will it be bankrupt? Social Security, under the current law, cannot go bankrupt. The current actuarial projections are in 2033, Social Security will not have enough income to pay 100% of the promised benefits. All the trust fund will be exhausted. There will only be current tax revenues coming in if there are no changes in the law. At that point in time, everyone's check will be cut by 23% to match the revenue stream. So it's not going to be all or nothing. It will be all or something. Because the only way checks stop is if tax collections stop. For as long as there are FICA taxes being collected, there's a revenue pool to pay benefits at some level, but there will be an adjustment, and that's in the law right now. So if Congress does nothing between now and then, that's what's happening. And it will happen in late 2017 or early 2018 with the disability system. There are no changes on the disability financing in the next year and a half. The disability checks are going to be cut 20%. Because disability and retirement are financed a little differently. So, we want to talk to you about how to prepare for retirement. How to make sure that you have the resources you need in retirement to live the lifestyle you want to. Now, everybody will ask me, what is the biggest thing I should do? Well, you probably already missed this opportunity. The biggest thing you can do is marry money. That's the biggest. If you miss that one, then you need to do some planning. See, I did not marry money. My wife, now we've only been married 36 years, so she's not sure if this is going to work out. But she's a firm believer in zero-based budgeting. And she has it to an art. I don't care what we start the month with, at the end of the month, she can make the checking account close to zero. I can change the first number to any number I want, and she still makes it work out. It's a remarkable talent. But I don't worry. She explained earlier. Her job is to make the selections. My job is to pay the bill. So it works. But we want to talk to you about how to fit Social Security into a financial plan. Have you seen your Social Security statement? Social Security has resumed mailing Social Security statements out. Here's who will get one. If in 2015 you are 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, or 60, you will get a statement in the mail. If once you hit 60, you will get one every year from then on. You will get it 3 months before your birthday. So if you were born in January, your statement came out last October. If you meet one of these criteria. If you want a statement, you can call Social Security's 800 number and ask for one, they'll mail it to you. When you go to your financial advisor, when you get with Richard and or Steve and make your plan, you need to carry this with you so they can look at your actual numbers and not what you think. So you can see where you are and what your choices are. Dan, we don't care about that. We don't care about that. All right. Let's talk about the fun things. We're through with the history and the financing. Let's talk about the important stuff. What's in it for me and how do I get it? First off, I want to see kind of what you know. What are your Social Security benefits based on? What the biggest factor in determining how much you receive each month? Your what?
How much you made.
How much you made. How much you made over what period?
35 years.
35 years, very good. Social Security is looking at your lifetime of employment. It's a pretty simple process. You take all of your earnings over your lifetime, your Social Security statement has them on it, and you pick out the highest 35. So just start listing them from the highest one to the lowest. Doesn't have to be any sequential order, just high to low. Pick the high 35. You add them together, you get a big number. You divide it by the super secret number of 420. That's the number of months in 35 years. That gives you your average monthly wage. That goes in a benefit formula and poof, there's your check. Really straightforward. Y'all can do that. Y'all are highly skilled professionals, right? Not hit figures with you. Okay, very good. That's not exactly how it works. See, this is a government operation that is too simple. Social Security uses pretend numbers. You don't know what they are. And if you ever figure one out, they're changed every year. But it actually benefits you. Social Security takes all of your earnings that you had prior to age 60 and indexes those dollars up to what a dollar is worth the year you turn 60. Everything you earn from 60 forward will be actual dollars, but everything you earn before age 60 will be pretend dollars. I'll give you an example. Say you were retiring January 2015. You made $10,000 in 1975. That was fair money in 1975. That is poverty level money today. When your benefits were determined last January, you received credit for almost $51,000 for 1975 because that's the value of that $10,000 now, and you're retiring now. So you take all of your money before age 60, convert it to pretend numbers. Everything after 60 is real. Then you pick your high 35, add them together, get a much bigger number. Divide it by the super secret 420, that gives your average monthly wage index. That goes in the benefit formula, and that is your benefit amount at your full retirement age. Full retirement age for people retiring today is 66. For people that were born 1960 or later, it will be 67. So some of you are going to have to be on the 67 group. If you wait until your full retirement age to begin your benefits, you get 100% of your money. What's the earliest you can start Social Security retirement checks? 62. 62. Very good. If you begin benefits prior to your full retirement age, your payment will be reduced. It will be reduced a fraction of a percent for each month you take a payment early. So if you start at 62, it's one penalty amount. If you wait to 62 in 1 month, it's a different number. 63 is a different number. The closer you get to 66, the closer you get to your 100% share. But worst case number, if you start at 62, you take a 25% penalty. You lose 1/4 of your money. At 62, you get a 75% share. What's the latest you can start retirement payments? 70. Very good. Excellent guess. That's not the right answer. For the instructors in here, this was a trick question. There is no latest. Social Security does not care if you ever get a check. If you don't want one, don't ask for it. No one is going to show up at your front door with a stack of $100 bills and say, take the money. Now we used to, back in the dark ages when I started working in Birmingham, you turned 65, you had filed a claim, we sent you a letter. Where are you? Why haven't we seen you? What's wrong with you? Are you dead? Because we assumed everybody wanted their check. Well, because of the baby boomers, Social Security no longer feels the need to solicit business. Enough comes in completely unannounced, and so they don't do that anymore. So you decide when you want, but if you wait after your full retirement age to begin payments, you get a bonus. If you take them early, there's a penalty. If you wait later for retirement payments, there's a bonus. Your benefits go up a fraction of a percent each month that you delay taking a check. It works out to 8% per year up until age 70. No bonus paid after 70. So you can wait to 70 and get a 32% bonus. So remember that 2663 number that I gave you? If you wait to 70, you're looking at $3,300 a month in Social Security benefits. So you can change your payment to whatever you want based on the decision you make. Here's a great example using small numbers. If you're due $1,000 at your full retirement age, at 62 you would take that 25% penalty, so you get $750. At 70 you get a 32% bonus, you get $1,320. You can change your payment amount 76% by the decision you make. So now everybody's going to ask, what should I do? You should do what is best for you. How does this fit inside your financial plan? What's your life expectancy? How's your health? What's your gene pool? Do you need the money today to eat? If you do, you don't really have any choices. But hopefully you put a plan together with Mid-America ahead of time before you get to this decision, and you know what you want to do and when to maximize your resources as you move into retirement. But if you really get me pinned down, if Richard really, I can help answer questions, but so if he really wants me to answer this, I need 2 pieces of information from you. I need to know your month and year of birth and your age 66 amount, so I can figure out where your numbers are going to be based on when you want to start benefits. And then I need to know your month and year of death, so I know how long you're going to get a check. Now, if you're not sure of all of this information, you've got to decide what is best for you. Or to quote Clint Eastwood, how lucky do you feel? Yes, sir.
What does it mean to retire? Can I get benefits going out of Social Security even though I'm still working?
Yes. Maybe. It depends.
Do I have to quit my job?
Maybe. Let me talk about that in a minute. It depends on how old you are, what your choices are. Sometime in one scenario, there's some really strict restrictions, and in another scenario, there are none. So it just depends on where you are, but I'm not ready to go there yet. See, I told y'all this would happen. Anything else so far? All right. Now, you've decided you want to start your payment. So what do? Well, you file a claim. When you file a claim, you will be asked a series of questions to determine, are there other individuals that could receive Social Security benefits off of your Social Security record, or can you receive benefits off of the record of another individual? So the first question you're going to be asked is, are you married? This is to see if there are is there a spouse that can receive payments from you, or can you receive payments from them? Now, I'm going to help you out here. I'm from Alabama, so we're going to provide a little tutoring here. Are you married is a yes, no answer. Those are the only 2 choices. I think so. I could be. I don't recall. Maybe. And the best one I ever heard was, unfortunately. And what made that one so good, this guy said that. He's sitting at one of our front interviewing ones. He's sitting there, and his wife is sitting next to him. And I'm thinking immediately, we're going to be getting a survivor claim from him within 2 weeks. There's no way he's surviving. He's dead. So, yes you are, no you're not. If no you're not, then we go on. If yes you are, you need to be able to recall the name of the person, their birthday. Don't laugh. I've got another story. We had this couple come up to the window. So, are you married? Yes. That's what she said. She's filing her own retirement plan. Oh, you mean yes? What's his name? Ma'am, what's his name? She could not think of her husband's name. But she was sure she was married and she had a wedding band on, so we thought she probably is. And so the claims representative is trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to fix this? Because Social Security folks are kind of like, we see a problem, we're going to fix it. So then she had an aha moment. And the representative asked, there was this guy sitting next to the lady. Are you him? Mm-hmm. She was nervous about dealing with the bureaucracy and just went blank. So, write it down. Name, birthday, social security number, the date you got married. Pretty straightforward. Your spouse, at their full retirement age, is eligible to receive 1/2 of your age 66 amount. 1/2 of your full retirement age amount. Not 1/2 of what you are receiving. It doesn't matter whether you start at 62 or wait to 70. The most they can get is 1/2 of your age 66 amount. If your spouse begins spousal payments early, they can start as early as 62, but there's a penalty for starting early. 62, they only get 35%, sliding scale in between. So now you're thinking, oh good, they're going to get a check off of me. Yes, maybe. They get the check off of you or their own retirement payment, whichever is larger. They do not get both. So if they are due $500 a month off of your record as a spouse and $800 a month off of their own retirement record, they get their $800. But if it's the other way around, they're due $500 off of their own retirement claim and $800 off of you, they get the $800 off of you. You always get the larger of the two, but you do not get both. Next question, have you ever been married before? Another yes, no answer, requiring the name of the person, the birthday, social security number if you have it. When you got married, when the marriage ended, how the marriage ended. There are two obvious answers on the how. There's death and divorce. We're going to talk about divorce first. That happens a lot. Death generally is a one-shot deal. So we'll cover that later. If you were married to a person for 10 years or more, they are eligible for divorced spouse benefits off of your record, and you are eligible for divorced spouse benefits off of their record. The divorced spouse gets the same benefits as the actual spouse. So if your ex waits to their full retirement age, they get a 50% share. If they start early, there's a penalty. At 62, they only get 35%. Couple of quirky important rules here. First one, on your current spouse. Your current spouse cannot file for benefits off of your record until you file your own claim. So you must file a retirement claim for your current spouse to receive any type of spouse payments off of you. It doesn't matter how old they are. Your ex doesn't have that rule. Your ex can file for benefits off of your record if you are at least 62 and they are at least 62, whether you file a claim or not. Now, benefits payable to your former spouse are paid outside the pool, and they do not impact anything that you receive or anything that's paid to your current spouse. That's like extra money out here. So now I'm going to answer the question that I know somebody is dying to ask. We refer to it as the Johnny Carson rule. If I had sequenced my marriages correctly, say I got married at 20 and divorced that one at 32, and got married at 33 and divorced that one at 45, and got married at 46 and divorced that one at 60, and got married at 61 and is married to that one today, and I'm ready to start getting benefits, every one of them can get a 50% share. All 4 of them.
Even if they've remarried?
No, if they remarry, they lose it. That's the thing. If you remarried, you lose it. All right? You're real happy now. If the marriage ends, they can come back on you. But remember, it doesn't affect you. You don't have a dog in the fight. And just to put the icing on the cake, you won't even know about it. Because nobody's going to call you and tell you that, hey, somebody's filed a claim on your record. But it doesn't matter to you. You get your money regardless. Your current spouse gets their money regardless. These are like add-ons. Now remember, back in the beginning, Social Security paid the retired worker only. Today we're paying the entire free world as you know it. So you understand why there could be some financial issues. Next question. Have you ever been married before? Yes or no? Yes. How did the marriage end? Death. You were married to the person at the time of death. They are due survivor widow payments off of your record. A widow at their full retirement age is due 100% of what the dead person would have received if they were alive today. Yes?
Do they have to be married for a certain amount of time?
1 year. You cannot go to intensive care and harvest a husband. they have to survive a year.
But the widow has to be of retirement age.
The widow has to be age 60 or older.
And not remarried.
Ah, did I say that? No, there was a reason. The widow, if the widow remarries before age 60, they lose the benefit. If the widow remarries after age 60, they keep them. Are y'all familiar with this place in Florida called The Villages? It's a huge retirement community. Nobody remarries. They all just live together because they don't want to give up benefits.
But then if the widow takes that at 60 and then she retires at 66, does she get her own plus that, or she goes?
No, you always get the larger of the two. There is no plus.
Just thought it out.
But they can do that because the widow payment is a death payment and their own retirement is a life payment. They can elect to start the death payment at 60, the survivor payment, and let their own retirement continue to grow out to 70 till they max that out and then switch over if it's more. You can do that with the survivor payments.
Survivor payment's taxable?
Everything is taxable. Everything is taxable. But we'll talk about taxes in a minute. Yes, ma'am.
Can we go back to the divorce?
You can go to whatever you want to.
If you were divorced and you're past age 62 or whatever, and you're claiming, you said that your former, if you were divorced before and you remarried, you could get half of the Social Security from the former spouse? Okay, I was confused.
If you remarry, you lose it.
You lose it, okay.
But if marriage number 2 ends, you can go back to number 1's benefits, whichever one pays you the most. You don't need to understand this. You just need to keep a list of the possible targets. Name, birthday, when the marriage occurred, when the marriage ended. Remember, 10 years. You don't. So if you're like at 9.5 years, stall. You don't have to live with them. You don't have to like them. Just don't sign the final papers to the day after the 10th anniversary. It's a financial decision, not an emotional one. It makes a difference. I'll give you a great example. One of my sister's girlfriends, summer before last, 4th of July, we're down at her house. Sandy, the girlfriend, is dragging this guy around, introducing him as her soon-to-be husband. She was a widow. Her soon-to-be husband. I said, Sandy, we need to talk. This was 4th of July now. Sandy was going to be 60 in August. The wedding was planned for the last weekend in July. After a few minutes of conversation, and then the bride and groom had a small conversation, and then she's dragging them around, telling everybody that now the wedding is the Saturday after Labor Day. Because by shifting that wedding to after she was 60, she would get $1,800 a month the rest of her life that she would not have gotten otherwise. So get with your advisors, because in certain situations, specific dates and time frames make a difference. You'll also be asked, do you have any children? If you have children under 18, they are due benefits. Or do you have a child that is disabled? If you have a child that is disabled, as long as the disability started before the child was 22, and that child has never married, regardless of their age today, they're eligible for benefits when you start your check. A child gets a 50% share while you're alive. When you die, they'll get a 75% share the rest of their life. Now, let's talk about some things that impact your benefits. And the first one, we're over here, we are now going to answer your question. We have arrived there. The first one is work. There are two scenarios with work. If you are under your full retirement age, there are restrictions on your earned income from employment. You can make $15,720. You go over that in any 1 year and you lose $1 in benefits for every 2 you go over. Once you reach your full retirement age, the month of your birthday, there are no restrictions at all any longer. So if you're full retirement age or older, you can work and earn as much as you wish and still get your full payment every month. But if you're under full retirement age, there are restrictions. The only thing that counts is income from employment. Your other sources of income have no impact at all. It must be employment income. That gets your question? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So if by May you've already made the 15,000 and you retire,
There's a special rule. Your first year. If you make less than $1,300 a month, June through December, Social Security will ignore everything you made the first part of the year. So if like you're a teacher, that's a great example. You know, your contract ends June 1st to July 1st when out of the school year cycles, and you retire. Social Security will ignore your income the first 6 or 7 months of the year because you're no longer working. You can do that the first year of retirement. Otherwise, everything counts.
and how much can you make after that if you picked up an odd job?
Well, you can make $1,300 a month the rest of that year that you retired. Then the next year you can make $15,720 without an impact. Yes, sir.
Although I'm not 66, I believe when I do turn 66, Social Security will be able to tell me how much I would get per month in Social Security if I take Social Security at 66.
Yes.
And I also believe Social Security will be able to tell me if I wait until 70, for example, what my monthly security check would be. All right? With that information, if I chose to continue working and not take Social Security at 66, does the amount that I would earn at 70 change based upon any earnings after 66?
Maybe. Social Security always considers.
No wives involved, okay?
The Social Security always considers the highest 35 years.
All right.
So if what you earn at age 67 is higher than that lowest number on that list of 35, then 67 goes in and replaces that, and all your benefits go.
So
If it's
then-
lower, it doesn't have any impact.
So the benefit at 70 would go up as long as the income at 67, 68, 69 was higher than one of those.
The low year on your 35 list.
But you talked about them being averaged out before 60. Do you need to know that average number? to
Well,
see if it
on
can-
your Social Security statement, the average, it averages it to this year's numbers. So if you're like 55 right now and you're getting a statement this year, it's gonna show you a benefit estimate for 66, 62, and 70. And that's based on this year's average. So you're looking at today's dollars because that's your frame of reference is what your costs are today. So that's gonna tweak a little bit going out because the averages are gonna change. But because you're averaging 35 years, it's not gonna change it a lot, but it will change it. But if you continue working, even if you continue working after you start receiving payments, the same thing happens. If in 2015, you work and earn an income, pay Social Security taxes, in 2016, Social Security will look at 2015's number and see if it's higher than what that number one year that the average was, whatever the number one year was, and if it was, it will automatically go in that spot, and you will get an automatic increase in your benefits.
Also, you're not locked in.
No.
Okay, what about, I hear about cost of living increases.
You get a cost of living increase every year, that will be on top of that.
What if you've not taken Social Security at 66? Are
You're
those
getting a cost of living is still accumulating,
still accumulating?
because that base is going up every year by that cost of living.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am?
If you have a much older spouse and that older spouse is the lower wage earner, when they become eligible, they could draw their Social Security, but then when the younger spouse who has been the higher wage earner draws their retirement, then that older spouse can,
Switch if it's more.
okay,
Switch if it's more. You can always move to the higher amount.
okay.
Yes, ma'am?
It's along that same line. What if you have a spouse that is drawing Social Security now, and you're contemplating in a year or two of reaching 62 or higher? Can you draw 50% off of theirs and let yours grow? Like, and say, I tap in on mine at the age of 60.
Maybe. It depends.
Okay.
If you are under your full retirement age and you file for spouse benefits, you must file for your own retirement. Also, you will get the larger of the two. You cannot pick and choose. If you are full retirement age before you file for anything, you can pick and choose. You can elect, so if you wait till 66 to start payments, you can elect to take spouse payments only and let your own retirement payment continue to grow to 70 and then switch over. But if you start either one of those before your full retirement age, you've got to take both. And you get the larger of the two. You cannot pick and choose. Before you start doing that, you need to meet with the advisors. They have some programs that can show you how to mix and match benefits to maximize your revenue stream. And that's one of the things they'll talk to you about is when do you want to take benefits and which benefit do you want to take to maximize your income. And it's kind of, this might not be a good word, complicated. To me, it's not, but I did it for 35 years, so it's clear as a bell to me. For someone like y'all, that this is your first exposure to Social Security, some of the rules are a little picky, and Social Security does not provide financial planning. Their employees are trained, when you contact that office to file a claim or go on the internet to file a claim, it is set up to pay you the most money you are due that day from whichever account pays you the most money. Not the most you would get over your lifetime or the most you would get if you waited 6 months to do something. The most you would get that day. So you need to have a plan in place before you get to the point of filing that claim. Let me do just like 2 or 3 more questions and then we'll talk. Yes, ma'am.
You are earning a federal retirement.
Civil service or FERS?
Civil service.
Okay.
Your wife passes before she starts collecting. How does that affect you?
You're not going to be happy.
Thank you.
It's what's called government pension offset. You are eligible to receive survivor benefits off the person that paid into Social Security, but those benefits as a spouse or as a widow are reduced dollar for dollar by 2/3 of your federal pension. So if you take your federal pension and it's $3,000 a month, then they're going to subtract $2,000 from your Social Security benefits, and you get the difference. Most of the time, the difference is 0. And that affects all of us old people. You know, the new ones that were starting 1985, no federal employee were in civil service. They were in FERS and they paid Social Security, so there's no difference. Yes, sir.
I read that if you're 66 and you file but
File and suspend.
Yes, that if at, let's say, 67 years of age, 68, you get diagnosed with cancer, you've got 2 years to live, that you can then get a lot of the benefits.
All of it.
All of it. But if you haven't suspended, how does
If
that
you haven't filed a claim, you can only back up 12 months.
So why would a person not want to file and suspend?
I have no idea.
That's another one where they're not going to knock on your door and say you should file.
That's why you need to talk with your financial advisors. Mid-America's got stuff that, there are programs available, one through Protected, that literally will tell you, you need to do this on this date and tell you a paragraph explaining the exact words you need to use in Social Security. And that's what it will tell you to do. You need to file and suspend and then take your check at 70. So you have the option to change your mind. If you haven't filed a claim, you can't back up. Okay, last question. Yes, ma'am.
What do you mean by file and suspend?
File and suspend is if you are full retirement age or older, you can file your claim and ask that payments be suspended, that you don't get a check. You have filed a claim now, so that allows your spouse to start drawing spouse benefits off of you. Because remember, your spouse can't get anything until you file. It also lets you get that 8% growth, but if something changes and you need this money, you can go all the way back to 66 and tell them, I've changed my mind, give me the checks. If you have not filed a claim, you cannot do that. Okay, okay, yes, sir?
Would they give you the accumulated checks
Yes,
since you were 66?
yes. You lose the 8% growth, but they'll give you the whole check. So, now, what's gonna happen now, Richard's gonna come up, and they're gonna pass out some material. Most everything I covered is in this material that you're gonna get, so that will help you kind of remember it. But give them just a second to get organized. Thank y'all for coming today. It's been a great time to come to campus.